From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I am Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. The United Nations has been warning for weeks of imminent famine in Gaza, and now it has arrived. CNN reports that Palestinians are eating grass and drinking dirty water to survive. In some cases, people have resorted to eating donkey meat. Children living on the streets after Israel killed their family members and bombed their homes are crying and fighting over stale bread. Last November, we reported from Gaza that many men were fasting to preserve food for children. In December, Euromed Monitor reported that 71% of the population in Gaza faced extreme hunger. And earlier this month, CNN reported that children were being fed only once a day. Even before Israel's current blockade of food and water, more than 60% of Gazans were dependent on the UN food program. Now, UN aid trucks rarely arrive, but are immediately mobbed with hungry people searching for any food to eat when they do. The UN has said that there is simply not enough food. Last Friday, the International Court of Justice ordered Israel to allow food supply into the area. However, Israel is not only not letting food and water into Gaza, it has accused the UN employees of supporting Hamas attacks on Israel on October 7th. This allegation has resulted in the United States suspending its aid to the UN Palestine program, which says it will run out of funds in a month. Justice for All, a U.S.-based Muslim human rights organization, has called the food blockade a textbook case of a war crime. The organization has asked President Joe Biden to force Israel to allow food and restore U.S. funding to the UN program. A Muslim organization has filed a complaint with the Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights on behalf of more than a dozen Harvard University students. The Muslim Legal Fund of America alleges that the students have been subjected to relentless harassment, racial attacks, doxing, stalking, and even physical assault. The students are demanding an immediate investigation into Harvard's alleged failure to protect them from such intimidation based on their Arab, Muslim, and Palestinian backgrounds, as well as their pro-Palestinian views. Despite pleas for help, Harvard reportedly responded by closing its doors and threatening to restrict academic opportunities to them. The students argued that the school has violated Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. That guarantees equal treatment and a safe learning environment to all students, regardless of race or creed. The Department of Education is being asked to immediately investigate Harvard's alleged discrimination and ensure accountability. The Council on American Islamic Relations reports a 178% surge in complaints of Islamophobic incidents during the final 3 months of 2023 compared to 2022. This coincides with Israel's war on Palestine. CARE received over 3,000 complaints between October and December 2023, with the highest categories being employment discrimination, hate crimes, and Islamophobia in schools. Among high-profile incidents were the murder of a 6-year-old in Illinois, a shooting at 3 university students in Vermont, and harassment of a New York City food cart vendor. Amid the rising discrimination, calls for justice in Palestine persist as Israel's violence and genocide continue. Attorney General Merrick Garland said in the early weeks of Israel's war, the Department of Justice was monitoring the increase in threats against Jewish, Muslim, and Arab communities. The United States continues to support Israel's war politically, financially, and morally. Since October 7th, President Joe Biden has sought a new $14.3 billion package for Israel while bypassing Congress to arm Israeli forces. In the past 24 hours, Israeli forces have killed 114 Palestinians and left 249 injured. In Jenin's Ibn Sina hospital in the West Bank, Israeli commandos disguised as medical staff opened fire, killing 3 Palestinian patients. Meanwhile, Gaza City's Sabra and Tufah neighborhoods witnessed numerous civilian casualties during Israeli attacks on residential homes. Al-Farouq Mosque in Khan Yunis was bombed, and an Israeli airstrike on a Gaza City house killed 20 civilians. More than 100 Palestinian bodies, some decomposed and unidentified, were buried in a mass grave in Rafah. Israel had taken the bodies. A Euromed Human Rights Monitor report says Israel has defied International Court of Justice rulings. Since they were issued on Friday, as many as 373 Palestinians have been killed and 643 injured. Israel's war on Palestine has killed over 26,000 Palestinians and injured more than 65,000. Israeli casualties stand at 1,139 from Hamas's October 7th attacks. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is set to convene a crucial meeting with major donors of the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, or UNRWA. It comes in response to a funding crisis triggered by allegations that some UNRWA employees in Gaza were involved in attacks on Israel in October. UNRWA is conducting an investigation of the charges. The UN chief has described the situation as bleak and is emphasizing the importance of supporting the critical humanitarian work that millions of people in the region depend on. Roughly half of UNRWA's key donors have suspended funding, jeopardizing vital humanitarian assistance across Gaza, East Jerusalem, the West Bank, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria. Israeli government officials attended a controversial conference organized by the right-wing Israeli organization Nahala. Participants included National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir and Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich. Both Ben-Gvir and Smotrich reiterated their calls for the removal of Palestinians from Gaza, with Smotrich advocating for Palestinian emigration. Israeli organizers called for the resettlement of Gaza and the expansion of illegal Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank. The conference came shortly after the International Court of Justice ordered Israel to prevent genocide in Gaza last week. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel does not plan permanent settlements in Gaza. But the U.S. has expressed concerns over the event, with critics highlighting a consistency problem among Israel's allies regarding funding decisions. Former Human Rights Watch Executive Director Kenneth Roth says the U.S. continues to fund Israel after documented instances of a number of its ministers calling for war crimes. In contrast, he says the U.S. has cut funds to the UN relief agency assisting Palestinians after it fired 12 of its workers over reports from Israel that they were involved in Hamas's October 7th attack. Muslim student attacked in Chicago. Details after the break, so stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back. A Muslim student was violently attacked in her school in a Chicago suburb, prompting investigations by local authorities and the school district. The incident at Glenside Middle School in Glendale Heights was captured on video and widely shared on social media. It shows a male student assaulting a female student who wears a hijab. The boy forcibly grabbed the girl's head, placed her in a headlock, and swayed her before violently shoving her to the ground, according to authorities. The assault unfolded before a crowd of students, many of whom recorded it on their mobile phones. The footage ends with the girl sitting on the hallway floor, visibly shaken and afraid. Community members have revealed that the targeted student hails from Saudi Arabia and has been in the U.S. for just 2 months. They also noted the alleged perpetrator previously had been involved in bullying another hijab-wearing student last year, which had gone unreported until now. Superintendent Joe Williams of Queen Bee School District 16 confirmed the attack occurred last Thursday. South African journalists on Sunday gathered in Johannesburg to protest the killing of dozens of journalists in Gaza. The number of journalists killed by the Israeli army since October 7th has risen to 120. The Palestinian media office in Gaza says the latest journalist killed by Israeli strikes is Iyad al-Rawar, a broadcaster and presenter at Al-Aqsa Voice radio station. He was killed at Nusayrat refugee camp in central Gaza. Since the beginning of the war, Israel has also detained about 10 journalists.
I start by expressing my deepest condolences to you, our colleagues in Gaza, for the unthinkable loss you have suffered over the last 113 days. Words can never describe what you have endured.
China has initiated a policy promoting integration among ethnic groups in the Uyghur-dominated northwest of the country. Chinese media reports the move is aimed at promoting a unified national identity. This policy has raised concerns among experts and scholars who believe its objective is to erode the cultural identity of Uyghurs and other Turkic peoples. Critics argue it is part of an effort to achieve national security goals by assimilating and diluting the Uyghur population within the Chinese population. The policy seeks to create mixed housing, themed venues, cultural parks, and cultural activities highlighting Chinese culture. It has been described as an attempt to dismantle Uyghur identity, with fears that historic Uyghur neighborhoods, traditions, and culture could disappear. The policy was formally put in process in the Li Kazakh Autonomous Prefecture, a multi-ethnic region bordering Kazakhstan, Mongolia, and Russia. It is seen as a test before potential expansion to other parts of the region. A solemn ceremony was held Monday to commemorate the 2017 Quebec City Mosque Massacre in Canada. 6 Muslim men were killed and 5 others injured in the January 29th attack. The event was held at the Quebec City Islamic Cultural Center. It honored the memory of the victims and offered support to their families and survivors. In 2021, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau declared January 29th as the National Day of Remembrance of the Quebec City Mosque attack and action against Islamophobia. Trudeau paid tribute to the victims and emphasized the need to combat hate speech, discrimination, and Islamophobia. Quebec Premier François Legault also marked the anniversary, acknowledging the tragedy's lasting impact and emphasizing unity. A special court in Pakistan sentenced former Prime Minister Imran Khan and former Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi to 10 years in prison in the Sifr case. That revolves around a diplomatic document related to the conversation of a U.S. State Department official. Khan allegedly failed to return the document, which was supposed to be secret. It is believed to contain a threat from the U.S. to oust Imran Khan as Prime Minister. Khan and Qureshi were charged under the Official Secrets Act for disclosing state secrets. This verdict comes just 9 days before the February 8th general elections, which Imran Khan's party, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, or PTI, is participating in amid a state crackdown. The conviction disqualifies Khan and Qureshi from contesting elections for the next 5 years. This is Khan's second conviction. The PTI has decried the trial as a sham and plans to challenge the verdict in the Islamabad High Court. That's all from our Chicago studio tonight. We're thrilled to announce a monumental achievement. Our family has just reached 100,000 subscribers. Your unwavering support has fueled our journey to this incredible milestone, and we want to express our heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you. We're now setting our sights on the next milestone, 200,000 subscribers. Your continued support is crucial in amplifying the reach of Muslim Network TV. Invite your friends, family, and colleagues to join our community. Let's make our voice even stronger. Keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Salam and good night.